Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Mandala. Welcome you all to the video lecture series on operating systems course. So we are learning different concepts under operating systems, and in the last lectures we learned about the introduction to operating systems, and also we understood what are all the different types of operating systems we have, and we learned about the memory hierarchy, what are all the different types of memories we have in the computer and which one is having the highest priority and all whenever the CPU wants to get any data. So these are all the things we learned in the last lecture. So today's class will see about different functions of the operating system in brief. In future classes we are going to learn in detail about each and every function. Okay, so these functions are also, we can also consider this concept as OS components. Okay, so whenever you are asked to explain about functions of operating system in your exams or write about operating system components, both mean the same. Okay, so these functions of operating system is nothing but what are all the activities the operating system is going to do. That is what we are going to highlight today. In brief, we are going to understand all the things. So functions of the operating system is nothing but what activities the operating system will do. Okay, so here I have a set of 6 to 7 activities. So we'll see one by one what are all the activities. Before that, all of you note down this point. Functions are nothing but what activities that OS will do. Okay, so one by one I'll be explaining the thing. So first activity, let us understand process management. So what I'll do is let me first highlight all the activities first, and then we'll see one by one. Okay, so all of you note down the activities first so that we can have a brief discussion about all these different types of activities what operating system will do. Okay, so first one is process management. Second one is main memory management. Next one is secondary memory management. Fourth one is file management. Management. Okay. Next one is IO system management. And one more we can consider protection system. Okay. Alright, so these are all the main activities that the operating system does. So let us see one by one in detail. In brief, we'll have a discussion on this. Okay, so we'll start with the first one, that is process management. So I want you all to keep your heading. First one is process management. Now what is process management? What is nothing but a process? So process is nothing but a program in execution. Normally we'll store the programs in the memory, right? But whenever we start, we may not be executing that program. We have the data available in the computer. But whenever we start executing that program, then that is referred as a process. So process is nothing but is a program in execution. You can understand like this. So whenever we are executing that program, that program will be referred as a process. So when it will be considered as a process? So whenever we want to execute any program, the operating system will copy the program from main memory to secondary memory. This you already know. From secondary memory to main memory. This is what we know, because whatever the CPU wants to execute, that should be available in the main memory. So the program that is available in the secondary memory should be copied into the main memory, and once it is copied into the main memory, the CPU will be executing that program, and that executing program is referred as a process. Got it, all of you? So the CPU will be accessing only the main memory. That is what you need to understand. Now while doing this process management, the operating system will be doing this first part. This is the first activity that it has to do, where it will be copying the things from the secondary memory to the main memory, and along with that the operating system has to do some more duties. So what all the OS duties are there as part of the process management? Here I will highlight, you all can understand that. The first one is it has to create the process. Okay, so the first duty the OS has to do is it should create the process. Okay, so that is the first one. Once the process is created, then what it has to do, it can execute that one, or it can help the it can assign that one to the CPU. Okay, and after it is executing, it is executing. Sometimes we want to suspend the execution as per our requirement. So whenever the process execution, whenever the program execution you want to suspend, then also it is a responsibility of the operating system to take care of that one. So suspending the process, and once it is suspended and after some time you need to resume that one. So resuming the execution also will be taken care by the operating system. And then let us consider one process want to communicate with the another process while executing. Then in that case we need to have inter-process communication, and that also will be taken care by the operating system only. And handling synchronization, like it is not the case like always one process will be under the like CPU will be taken care under the control of only one process. It is not the case. The CPU should switch between the processes. Okay, all these things is nothing but handling the process synchronization. Okay, so all these things will be taken care by the operating system only, like which process should be given the priority, which process should be assigned to the CPU. Okay, all these things should be taken care by the operating system. While doing the process synchronization and all these things, we will be having some issues, like let us consider two processes are requesting at one time to make use of the CPU. They are ready in the main memory, and both are ready in the main memory, and both want the CPU time, both want the CPU time, so that their work can be finished. In that case, the operating system will be resolving the things. How the operating system will be resolving things? Using different process scheduling algorithms. Okay, different types of scheduling algorithms are there. Like in the future we are going to understand all these algorithms. I'll highlight here the algorithms, like we can have FCFS. Okay, we have the other algorithm like FCFS stands for first come first serve. Whoever comes first, whoever requests first, so they will be given the priority. Or else we can consider SJF. SJF is nothing but whichever process requires less amount of CPU time, for them they can be assigning the thing. Okay, or SRTF. SRTF stands for shortest remaining time first. So all these algorithms, round robin, all these algorithms we are going to learn in the future. So CPU is having different algorithms. So what is the use of these algorithms is it will be resolving the issues whenever when multiple programs want to execute at one time and they are ready to make use of the CPU. So the synchronization will be taken care by the processor itself. And in some cases there will be a deadlock. Like deadlock is nothing but in future we are going to understand what actually deadlock is and how it will be resolved by the operating system. But here you understand briefly, like deadlock is nothing but, let us consider two processors are there. Okay, both are executing simultaneously. Now P1 wants the resources that are holding by this P2, and P2 wants the resources that are holding by the P1. Then until and unless P1 releases, P2 cannot proceed further, and until unless P2 resolves, P1 cannot proceed further. Now what happens? Both are in a wait state and both are not using the CPU, and both the tasks are not completed. So such a situation is called as a deadlock. They are locked together. Okay, so how such a issue can be resolved, how operating system is resolving that, and all these things we are going to learn in future. So these are the duties that the operating system will be taking care as part of the process management. So this is the first one function of your operating system, right? Now second type of activity or second type of function that the operating system is handling is main memory management. Keep your heading, all of you. Second one, main memory management. Now, what is this main memory? You all know when we are learning, during the process of learning the memory hierarchy, we all understood what actually main memory is. Main memory is nothing but our primary memory. Okay. Now, whenever a CPU wants to execute anything, no, it should be available in the main memory. So, OS will be taking care of this one. This main memory is non-volatile. This also we understood in the last class. What is non-volatile? Whatever data you are storing in the main memory, no, that will be erased whenever the power is off or whenever you are switching off your computer. All okay. At that time, the main memory will be losing the data whatever it is having. Now, as in this main memory, the data is the space is limited. Okay, so we will be having less space. It is not like this will be having exact the capacity of the secondary memory whatever we have. Our secondary memory will be holding all complete data whatever we want to store, no, that will be available in the secondary memory. But main memory's capacities or main memory space is limited. Only the things that we want to execute, that will be copied from the secondary memory to the main memory. As the space is limited, then the operating system will be taking care. Here the operating system activities, because the space is limited for the main memory, it will be deciding like which programs from the secondary memory should be copied into the main memory. I hope you all are understanding, because the complete data whatever you have in the secondary memory cannot be copied into the main memory. We need to copy only the things that are ready to be executed in the main executed to the main memory, right? But in that case also, the OS has to resolve the conflict like which program has to be copied into the main memory. Why? Because the main memory space is limited. Okay, so this will be using different, the OS to resolve that issue. OS is using several allocation algorithms we are going to learn in future in detail. Okay, I'll highlight all those algorithms. Okay, what are the use of this allocation techniques is to resolve the conflict like which program or which program should be copied from the secondary memory to the main memory, right? So we have algorithms like you can see we have a type called continuous memory allocation. Now in the continuous memory allocation we have two methods. In future we are going to learn in detail what is this continuous memory allocation at all. We have two methods in the continuous memory allocation, is memory fixed partitioning and memory varied partitioning. So okay, so these are the two methods that we have. And we have the other type is non-continuous memory allocation also. So different types, what is the use of these different types of memory allocation is just to resolve that conflict only. Okay, non-continuous. In non-continuous memory allocation we have an approach called two approaches are there in this, that is one is paging and the other one is segmentation. Okay, no need to worry, all these things we are going to learn everything. Okay, so OS is responsible for allocating the space in the primary memory. So which program has to be stored, how, where, and which allocation technique has to be used, and all these things will be taken care by the OS. Now once your work is done, once the execution is done, then the program has to be moved back to the secondary memory from the main memory. That means the deallocation, the OS is responsible for deallocate of the memory also. Okay, deallocation is nothing but transferring the programs. Once the execution is done, the program should be copied back to the secondary memory from the prime memory, right? So these are all the tasks that the operating system has to take care. These are all the duties the operating system, like allocation and deallocation of the memory as part of the main memory management. Okay, now we'll see the third type of activity that the operating system has to take care, that is secondary memory management. So keep your heading all of you, secondary memory management. Now what is this secondary memory management? You all know what is nothing but secondary memory management. In the last class itself we understood this one. Secondary memory is nothing but the data that is stored inside the secondary memory cannot be erased even if the power is off. So we can say it is non-volatile. That is what we understood, right? So non-volatile. That means we can store the data permanently. And here also the OS duties is allocation, how the data can be stored in this one. So here also we can say the duties of operating system is how the data can be stored in the secondary memory. For that means OS is responsible for allocating the data memory and deallocating the memory, all these things. So what are all the different duties of the operating system? I'll write it here. The operating system duties as part of the secondary memory is, the first duty is can be using the continuous memory allocation. Okay, you can say continuous allocation. All these things we are in detail how these techniques are working, everything we are going to learn in future. But here you can make a list of all the functionalities that the operating system can do. Okay, continuous allocation it can use, or else we can say it can be using the linked list allocation concept. So whenever we want to store the data in the computer, in the secondary memory, it can use continuous allocation, or it can use a linked list allocation, or it can use the indexed allocation. Okay, so these are the different types. These are the different types of allocation techniques. So OS is responsible for allocating, for storing the data. Got it? So we are going to learn a concept called disk scheduling as part of this secondary memory management. We are going to learn about disk scheduling algorithms. Different disk scheduling algorithms are there. So in future we are going to learn about disk management and all. So how the data will be stored, where these algorithms, these methods and all we are going to understand. Okay, so these are all the OS duties we have as part of the secondary memory management. Okay, now let us see the fourth type, that is file management. So keep adding all of you, file management. Okay, now in the file management what happens? You all need to understand file is nothing but a collection of related information. That is the definition for the file. Note down, file is nothing but collection of related information. This is called file. Okay, a file may be having a collection of lines. A file may be having collection of characters, words. We can also say a file may be having collection of bits, bytes, all these things. Okay, so all these are having their own meaning, and their meanings are defined by the creator. Whoever has created that file, that will be defined by the creator itself. But you need to understand collection of related information is nothing but it is a collection of lines, words, characters, bits, bytes, everything. Now whenever, let us consider a student file or an employee file, whenever you are considering, so we will be having in that file student related information if you are talking about student file. Okay, if you are considering employee file, then only employee related data will be stored in that file. Okay, now as part of this file management, what are all the duties of the operating system? So OS duties as part of file management is, it has to take care of how to create a file, like means creating a file. It has to take care, and it has to take care of how to open that file. And once it is open, if you want to perform any read or write or append or anything, read, write, append operations if you want to perform, then the operating system has to take care of those things. Okay, and then it has to take care of other things like directories. If you want to create directories, nothing but more than one file will be grouped together and for creating that one. So creating a directory, and then once your work is done, you want to delete the file, deleting the file. Okay, and once your work is done, if you want to let us consider you want to delete the directory also, that also need to be taken care by the OS, only deleting the directory. So all these works are taken care with the operating system as part of the file management. So we are going to learn in future about what is this directory and all. Okay, but here you need to understand the responsibility of the operating system is it has to take care of from the creation to deletion of the file, and the collection of files will be the responsibility of the operating system only. Okay. Now coming to the next type of activity that OS has to do is IO system management. So keep you adding all of you, IO system management. IO system management is nothing but we have different types of input devices and output devices connected to the computer, right? Now whenever any user or any application program wants to use any type of IO devices, no, then it is the operating system responsibility to allocate that IO device to the particular requested one. But here you need to understand each whenever we are connecting the input or output system to the particular user or anything, no, we need to hide the hide the related information of that particular IO devices from the user. We should not reveal the peculiarities of that particular specific hardware device. Okay, so it is nothing but the operating system will be acting as an interface where the resource will be connected, but its related driver software should not be revealed to the user and all. Okay, device driver should be known only to the operating system. No one should know. Only the device driver should be known, and knows the peculiarities of the specific device to which it is assigned. That's all. Other things, other people should not involved into that. I hope you all are fine. So each and every device contains its own device drivers. So whenever the user is requesting for anything, the operating system will be connecting that one to that particular user only. Okay, so you need to understand here is each device is having its own device drivers. So operating system, what is the duty of the operating system here? Assigning the resources. Hardware resources, or assigning the IO devices. To users. Got it? So how to do this one, everything we are going to learn in future. Next one is sixth type of activity is protection system, which is very much required. So all of you keep your heading protection. Now what is this protection system? Because a system has multiple users, and also it will allow multiple processes to use the resources, isn't it or not? We will be having multiple resources. We have multiple resources. We have multiple users. We have multiple processes. Okay, so we need to have a mechanism where these processes activities should be protected from each other, isn't it or not? There should not, if any problem is occurred, then it should not affect the overall system. So protection is nothing but it is a mechanism for controlling the access of the programs, processes or users to the resources defined by the computer system. Okay, so protection can be improved. Protection can improve the reliability by identifying what are all the different types of errors are there, and if any error is occurring, then what is the solution should be taken care by that one. So here the OS duty is identifying the errors, okay, and also taking the necessary action. Why protection is required? Because we have multiple users and multiple processes connecting together and all. There may be a chance like they may be creating the problem. In that case, the OS should come into picture and it has to identify the problem if anything occurred, and then immediately after identifying the error, it has to take the necessary action. Right, so this is about the protection system activities that the operating system has to take care. So these are all the different functions or the components, OS components, or the activity that the operating system has to take care for a smooth working of the computer. What are they? Process management, main memory management, secondary memory management, file management, IO system management, and protection system. Okay, so each and every activity has their own algorithms and their own methodologies to take care of that one. Like in future, each and every concept we are going to learn, like what are the different CPU scheduling algorithms are there, what is nothing but paging, segmentation, what is continuous memory allocation. We are going to learn about different disk management algorithms. All these things we are going to learn in future. Okay, so today's class, I hope you all are clear with this in brief discussion about the functions of the operating system. Okay, so let us all meet in the next lecture. Until then, thank you all of you.